Okay, welcome to the weekly screen share. Hope you're having a good day. Shout out to everyone there. Shout out to my man, what, Kaizma? It's a pretty cool background there. If that's your name. What up, Jamal? How you been, man? Nice to see you, man. What's up, Kurt? Bobby, dude. Bobby, man. It's been forever, man. How you been, dude? Bobby, man. I wanted to start today with best practices. Um, a good friend of mine, this is someone I know, just tweeted and he said, a thread apology to all my founders and community. I've come with a heavy heart and I want to apologize. I was a recipient of a phishing scam earlier this morning and I lost all of my NFTs staked on ETH on Blast, staked coins, and NFT on Parallel, and coins on all chains. I'm sorry for all the floors that were affected and dumped on because of my poor decisions. I should have swallowed my pride and let one of the amazing smart people I know surround me walk me through what I'd never done before rather than try to do it on my own. We need each other in life more than we realize. But anyway, he said I was so blessed that he had over $1 million worth of cryptocurrency stolen today. Um, and it's like a known guy on Twitter. You know what I mean? He's although I appreciate the offers of the help I've received. Please don't send any money. I made it all before and I'll do it again. I take full responsibility for my mistakes and actions. So I will take full responsibility for my recovery of said losses. Have a great day and stay blessed and be careful. It's the Wild West out here. And he said, I should have swallowed my pride and let one. Yeah. And he said, um, he cares more about the people than the money. But it just like we work too hard to change our lives. And, you know, and, another person I know lost like 700 grand in the last 6 months. And so I want to just talk about for the first 10 to 20 minutes here about how to keep yourself safe. You know, number one. If you have a MetaMask wallet, it's imperative that you add your hardware wallet to it as a backup, and you can go into MetaMask or any one of these wallets really and say, add a backup hardware wallet if possible. I would do that. Number two, I would use computer generated passwords, ones that are super long with slashes and dots and threes and ones. And, you can get a simple Nord has a computer software. You can get any password manager, and then usually they have, and you don't even have to store your passwords in there. Number two, no passwords really stored online, really, um, that are to like hardware wallets. Like you can't have seed phrases copy and paste it in a notepad. You can't do that, and then have 1 2 3 as the password on your computer, where someone could just go to the notepad, see the 12 words, and um, all right. So these are like, number one rules. Number two, your email address, SIM swapping. Okay. Someone can someone could work at the phone company and be in on it. All right. And they could say, okay, we're going to swap. Right. So what do you do there? How do you take care of that? Well, you put what's called two-factor authentication on, but you go further than that. Since SIM swapping has gotten bigger, if you go to all of your Gmail, you go to Coinbase, you're going to see it's going to say as a physical security key. You're going to click on that. Now you have to have your big boy pants on here. A lot of people can't handle this, but you get yourself a FIDO key or even a Trezor will work. Okay. Even even this Trezor here will work. And the old one, you can buy an old Trezor if you want. And what this does is it'll say, like, when I say I go to your house and I need to sign into Gmail, hopefully I would never do it, but say, I was just on my sister's computer and I forgot something. I really needed to see the email. I would sign in and it wouldn't let me sign in. And then two-factor would come up and it would say, plug in the physical key. And I would have to plug this in to get into my email account. The idea behind this is if they get your SIM swap, they still don't get you. They'd have to have a gun to your head at this point, making you press this button, and that's why I stay strapped at all times. So, you know what I mean? And I go to the range once a week at least. All right. And I have multiple weaponry. So, and again, you do what you want. I'm just saying this is you know, this is so this is my life as a crypto person. All right. Um, And I just know people that you know don't follow these rules. And at the end of the day, this is how to be the tightest, And no one will tell you this. No one ever told me this. One day I literally plugged in my Trezor, went into my Gmail account as security, and next thing you know, I figured this out on my own because it just said click on it, and next thing you know, it said it on the screen, and I said, "Whoa!" I click so much, I figure things out. You know what I mean? And I probably could have Googled it. You know what I mean? So anyway, that is like the best way. Number two, sending money. Okay. You get a cool idea. Someone tells you it's awesome. You want to buy a new coin. You think it's great. Always buy $100, $50 first. You know what I mean? Don't put the 5 grand in. Like, just see what, because you'll put $100, you'll get scammed for the $100, and then you'll be like, oh, thank God I didn't put the whole bit of money in there. Or if you send it to the wrong wallet on the wrong chain, always, even to this day, I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of maybe thousands of transactions on the blockchain, more than most people because I've been doing it for 10 years, really, or 7 years. And when I send any bit of money, like I want to send 5 grand, I make a big trade, I want to take 30 grand profit, right? I'm sending $300 first. Sometimes I then send 5 grand. I see two. I don't care. I pay the fee. I pay the extra $8 twice or something. And then I send the rest, right? And I make sure that things go right. And I double check my work and I triple check my addresses. And I'm super calm when I do it. I clear my desk. Sometimes you know what I mean? I just like clear my space. I tell my wife, I'm going to be downstairs doing some transactions. Please keep the kids away. Let me, whatever. If it's that important, I make a whole environment for my focus so that I'm not doing something stupid. Okay. Recently I thought again, I had somebody show me something and they weren't as thorough as me really with all and I assumed and I shouldn't have. And like I just again, I don't trust anyone ever. Like it's like I gotta read through and it even something happened to me. Not a big deal, but it was worse enough for me to be annoyed by it. So um just I want to talk about, and again, and now let's talk about like the one last thing before we move on to the rest of the day is like, keeping money. Uh it's you know, money on an exchange. It's okay to have some money on an exchange, I guess, to trade on, but it's also, money should always be being transferred to a hardware wallet. There should be a balance, someone maybe two, three exchanges spread out, two, three hard wallets spread out, right? Um, and so just making sure that all your crypto is never in one place. You know what I mean? And having, a balance, again, not too much, I guess it could be everywhere, but having a balance. And so those are just like best practices that I want to talk about as we enter into the bull run. Cause I truly believe everyone here is going to make a good amount of money. Because if you're with me, you're focused. And I know I'm going to make a lot of money in this run. It's going to happen. It's already been happening. We've already made a lot of money. We already have. Like, and so um yeah, Kyle Chesse posted who's the best on TA. I want him on my show. Yeah, everyone, please go comment. Try to get his attention for a while. It never seems to respond to me. So if you want to if we can bombard him with like 30 to 40 posts on X, it would be awesome. Thank you for saying that, crypto cousin. Yeah, he's cool. I respect him too. And I take in some of what he does and do TA to it. And I can find like, better places than he think, because you can always, the TA is spot on, man. And you know what I mean? And when you're really spot on with the the TA is spot on. And then if you're always in on it, like you're constantly using it, you can really use it to your benefit. So, so making sure that our coins and our lives are spread out. Number one. Number two, always sending a small amount before we do anything. Even when we're buying a coin, buy a little bit first. Make sure the transaction goes through. Make sure you're not doing something silly. Just give yourself space and time and focus to do things. Triple check your work when doing it, and always take a little bit of profits, always squirrel something away. Even if it's $500, you'd be surprised. You make 10 grand in the next few weeks. Just even send 500, have a hardware wallet called the squirrel, if you want, just sometimes just without even thinking about it, just send $500 there during the bull run. You know what I mean? When you have a great day and you'd be surprised. Next thing you know, like, you'll sell off too, and then you'll have a little nest egg. People just don't take enough profits during the bull run. And I'm not saying sell bags. You know what I mean? I don't do that. Like I hold long-term bags. I'm just saying it's good to pay yourself, even if it's a little bit. You'd be surprised the habit of doing that. I've been doing that throughout the bull run already, and it's different than I used to last time. You know what I mean? Because I have other things that I want to do and other ideas as well. You know what I mean? So like I make a huge hit on a coin. A couple coins have gone up really big in the last few weekends. We've been able to swing trade really well, and we're gonna go over that too as well. Kind of what happened this week, what I was focused on, how I made money this week, even though the week was really weird and choppy. And we're also going to talk about the trade we made last night, how it played out, because it was like signature to everything that I teach, and I stuck to what I do, and it did what is it all kind of played out exactly the same. It's so simple. What I show everyone is so simple. It's just about being disciplined to do the simple thing over and over again. That's what I found to be true. Uh, and if you study all the traders out there, there's a bunch of different traders, 300,000 subs. There's like really 10 main kind of known traders that you get hit with the algorithm. And even if you watch them, it's a simple model that they repeat. Once you get somewhere in this game, you end up usually with either a long-term strategies, some swing trades. I like some midterm swing trades, and then I have this just like absolutely deadly strategy that just prints money. It literally has printed me money. As long as I stuck to it and I wait for it and I'm disciplined about the strategy. It's super important. Like I'm as important as the strategy every single time, right? So let's talk about it. Last night, I'll honestly, 6 o'clock last night, Bitcoin had me a little like kind of like sideways. I was like, man, I was talking to one of my friends too, and I was like talking to my wife. I was like, man, it just seems like it could go either way tonight, you know? And then I just like what I did is I pulled back and I looked at it and I said, you know what? Well, pattern trading 101, bottom, top, bottom. I said, we're likely going to go to the top of the pattern. So I've seen that so many times in my life. And I kind of rested my mind with that. But what I was struggling with the fact that this kind of definitely looked to me like a bearish retest. Like it was trying to get back inside the pattern on the 4 hour. The daily looked like it could be in the pattern, but to me, I was still feeling like we had left the pattern and we were because when I opened this up, it was pretty wide. But you could say, okay, fine. And I kept saying, fine, we're still in the pattern. Like I'll let that slide. And it really came down to really daily hidden bullish. All right. Hidden bullish is really big to me. It'll change my entire thought process. I could have 100 indicators tell me one thing. If hidden bullish is around, I'm going to listen to it more than anything else because, and again, that comes from years. It's like how? Because my subconscious mind is conditioned at this point to hear this more than anything else. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like, this is not the best analogy about how like a dog can hear a sound that we can't. When I first started trading, I had the ears of a human. Like I couldn't see these things. But now I have the ears of a dog. Like I can, if that's really, I can see these things now that I couldn't see before. They used to go by me, go by me, go by me, go by me. I think eventually, if you do this enough, your subconscious mind will take it in and you'll eventually kind of see what's happening, and it's really interesting. You won't even realize that you do it as you do it. It'll be part of kind of how you do it. It's really, I find it truly fascinating. And look, this is another flag that I had here. Bitcoin's pumping out again. And I just been, once I get into the mojo, it just anyway, but last night we were looking at Bitcoin and this is what we saw. Okay. And I put it out to the trading group and I said, inverted head and shoulder. We should. And I said, look to see if we can break above the 200 SMA. The second we got above it, I opened up the trade. I put a stop right here on the other side of this line and I went to bed. True story. I went, an hour later, I went to sleep. I checked in the trade a couple times and I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, and yes, we could have spiked and come back down. I could have lost, anything could have happened, right? When I woke up in the morning, I saw this at like 5, 6, 7 in the morning. And I put this out to the trading group. Again, because I'm simple, it works, right? I saw shoulder, head, right shoulder. And I said to everyone, like, still above the 200, like this could continue, even if this was just a scalp, right? And then bang, the scalp played out. And then we just started to rip and we got the move. Now, once that starts to happen, I switch over to the 5 minute and I'm starting to see, like here, I went, the 5 minute got above the 200. Then I'm looking at, and then we were looking at the 15 and the 15, all these at the same, and that's powerful. When the 1 minute, the 7, the 15, these all get above the 200, likely you're going to get a pretty nice move. And again, boom, the squeeze, right? And then what happens is when these moving averages get close and that starts to happen, you usually magnetize yourself to the 200. What's interesting about this signal, all right, and what used to fight me on it is because I used to listen to the Stokes so much, and the Stokes would be mostly the time when this happens, the Stokes are overbought. So what happened to me was I wouldn't take the trade, and I'd see us get glued to the 200. I wouldn't take. Eventually, I learned the 200 was more powerful than all the other indicators, and that it was I would just follow that a little more. I still use the Stokes for my in and outs. Like, look, then I gave the trade today. So after all that happened, we got rejected by the 200 on the 1 minute, and that was to take profit. That's like, okay, we can't get above it, and we came down. And then I saw this flag just 10 minutes ago, and look at the strong move we're getting now for Bitcoin. And I see a target up here to 69,376. Like, this is a strong pump right now. All right. And this was the second, see the flag, low stochastics. So, Paul, I wish I could have given this entry for you right here, but tight moving averages in the flag with low stochastics, lack of bearish momentum on the MACD. I teach this every single day. Like, this is like textbook. And again, this works the best when we have volume, right? Like, we can see that we're in an uptrend now. The trend has been established, low, high, higher, low. We just need to put in a higher high now. We could make a double top. Okay. And then we'll break down. So now you have to break above this, make some type of flag, retest it. If we don't retest this, it's a double top. Double tops will have a 68% chance. So now that we're fighting a probability that that we're going to have to come to face with. Anyway, so about an hour ago, I saw this for the trading group, right? And I went to the 15-minute and I saw the 15-minute stochastics were low. And it kind of had, it kind of had this falling wedge vibe. Wasn't perfect, to be honest. Of all the, usually it's a little better than this. But I saw that, right? And I said, man, that looks like it's going to break out pretty nice. And I said, it came up, retested, breakout. Okay. And I entered this trade. I just actually sold it like right before this is right as this came in because I was like, I knew I might have been distracted and I didn't want to like stare at my trade half the time. And I was up and I took profit, right? So again, and so just I just want the value of being in the trading group, right? Like, so last night before I go to bed at 2 in the morning, I give my entry. I wake up in the morning and I give another entry, right? I explain exactly why I'm doing it over and over again, relentlessly. Like on the live stream, I give it away for free. I talk about it all the time. Like, I'll be known for it when I pass. Like, this is what this dude did. He gave it away. Like, and it took me years to figure this stuff out because I couldn't give it to you unless I had real traction on it, which meant I had to back test it for a long time, like 2 to 3 years. And then there was times where my brain was probably testing it, but I didn't even see it. You have to understand, I just kept looking at the charts. Thank God my brain was smart enough. It's like my brain did this while in the background. And I tell everyone, you're that intelligent. All of us are. And it's important that we feed our subconscious mind the keys to the puzzle. It'll put the puzzle together for you. It really will. But you got to feed it the right amount of things. Like, if you're watching violent television before you go to bed 6 to 7 nights out of the week, I'm telling you, it's going to affect your subconscious mind. And lately, all I see is like really, it's not good out there. Anyway, so I'm all about these tight moving averages. Okay. And even this wasn't the best, but see how they started to conjoin and get tight again. And it almost had some Adam and Eve vibes, right? Like, kind of like this semicircle here. Now, again, the signal on the 1 minute is when you get above the 200 SMA. Right there, the second 2 or 3 candles open, sometimes the first one now. I've been front running it. I'll be really honest with you. I bought in right here before we got above it, you know? because I'm just when the Stokes are that low, they give me a probability. And when I see lack of momentum on the MACD, like I see a real small histogram. See, that's what I'm really using the histogram for. I'm looking to see how big the hill is. The hill's small. It tells me that there's really just not a lot of opposition in the way I want to go. And you can see like this really little hill and it starts to curve. And that happens before. So I see this little hill. I see and these are all curves. So I saw the RSI trying to curve. And what happens is the RSI likes to break above the yellow line. That's very similar to when the 1 minute breaks above the yellow line. See, on the 1 minute time frame. And you can see here, maybe the last time we did it there, we broke above. And here you can kind of see the RSI break above. So these are cool little front run indicators that I use. So when you see the blue line starting to come across this yellow line, and it might be a little late, and I got an alert on Dual. I actually want to see what we'll take a look at that in a second. So this told me, once we got above there, we were going to get a move, right? And lo and behold, we did. Explosion, because this is what this signal tells me that it's going to do because I backtested it for years. You see what I mean? Like, I find trading really simple. Like, just, I guess it seems simple to me because I put so much time into it. Now it all makes sense, right? But I remember a time when it was really just a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and my mind could not make any sense of it. I thank God for that blessing, and it makes me realize that God has to exist because, like, how did I take all of this stuff that looked like just chaos and turn it into what makes so much sense to me now, and it's so pleasing for me, you know? Like today, I'm more profitable than I made money today trading leverage, you know, from all these tips and tricks that I learned. Right, I go home with more money than I started with. And that's like to me is a blessing. And it came from just, relentless years of just going at the charts, right? They say time in the market beats time in the market, right? I like a little bit of both. Yeah, like let's buy Bitcoin at the bottom and let's be in the market, right? Um, someone wrote me today, um, and it's funny, and I appreciate it, and I'll take the compliments, right? Uh, but they always said he's like, "Hey man, you called that bottom before, and like you called the bottom for Bitcoin. Like I saw you do it." So, and my whole group, we were able to really benefit from years of doing this. The moving averages and the divergence told me that Bitcoin had bottom. And it didn't tell me Bitcoin had bottom. What it did was this. And if you can look at my screen, right? Mathematics is about commonalities and rarities. Okay. Right. When something in math is rare, to me, it means something. And so when I collected all the data about all these different assets throughout the world, so okay, see, once I see a rarity, so I saw bullish divergence on Bitcoin, right? On the weekly. I'll show you what it looks like. I was going to like draw a diagram of something else, kind of more meta. But so I saw Bitcoin on the weekly with bullish divergence right here. And I knew like this is how this is the money printer that we learn about on the 1 minute chart, which is fascinating, right? That we're all, you can get the swing up. It almost looks better if you don't use the medium line. It looks a little cleaner, right? And sometimes I do take that off, RSI based moving average, right? But you get this swing up and you got this swing, and that's just textbook. That's what you want to look for on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, that's what we found on a reversal, yesterday. That's how we were able to see that we were going to reverse today, right? From the divergence from yesterday. We said, I think we might have called the weekly bottom there, or where I think it was Monday. Or maybe I think it was yesterday. They brought us lower. Yeah, but or the day before. All blur, but the point is we were able to see the divergence, which called the reversal, right? And then you go on from there. Like we're kind of in here now on the 15 minute, and again, once you get above the 200, look, you're gone. You might toy with it, but the 200 is really the line in the sand. Once and that was truly true on like the 3 day. Once you got above it here, you were gone. The 5 day. And that's why I short everyone when we got up here. We were right here, and these two red candles happened. And I told everyone, as long as we stay above this yellow line, like we're good, we're fine, everyone. I said we'll moon. And we have never gone below that since I've said that, right? And that we have moon since then. And it's because I've back tested this on every single time frame on multiple assets throughout the world. And I know that it's not just Bitcoin. And then I said, well, how does that mean? How does that make any sense, Sam? I had to ask myself. And I didn't have anyone to talk about it with. I was really talking with myself because I did so much of the work alone and not everyone uses my indicators. So it's not like I was with a group of people that all use the same indicator and I could bounce these ideas off of. I figured this out all alone and was just like, well, what does this mean? So what did I do? I went to the NASDAQ, right? And I went to Walmart and I went to any stock that I could find and I looked for the signal, right? 5 day above the 200. And there I saw it. And it was a massive move after that. Once there I saw it again. It was a massive move, pretty big move and a huge move. So I saw it 4 times here on Walmart since 1997. So I was like, oh my God, like this happens like 4 times in 20 years on the biggest asset in the world. And then I saw it on another one and another one. And then I just collected the data till I did 100 of these. And I was convinced that doesn't that make sense that I found the bottom for Bitcoin? Like, doesn't it make sense? I think it makes complete, like, it just logical sense. Like, I don't even do, everyone tries to like figure out TA. Like, and so that's when I watch these TA guys and they're like, here's where, and I'm just like, they just haven't put in enough time. Maybe I'm being overcritical, but in my mind, I'm like, they just haven't put in enough work. They just haven't. Because if they put in the work that I put in, like I think they would have been able to maybe, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I can see it differently. I don't know. I can't figure this out. But all I know is I can clearly prove to you why that was the bottom based on years of data on multiple other assets. So then not only did I find that 5 day above the two, but I found bullish divergence and I could only find it once every 7 years on Walmart, once every 6, 5, it's like it comes 4 or 5 times every 20 years. And so once I saw it on Bitcoin, I said, if I don't buy this, then I'm defying years of data like a complete fool. And so I said, I must buy this divergence because if I don't, that's it. There's nothing, you know what I mean? That was it. And so that's how I was able to call the bottom for Bitcoin, if that makes any sense. Right. And then there's some other stuff that goes with my other strategies that just fits into play. But that was the main idea. And then I used the 2 week stochastics RSI, and they were where I want them to be in accumulation. I buy Bitcoin when this is low, when this is low. And then in its life cycle, really, you had 1, 2, 3, like 4, like 5 times. And in Bitcoin's whole life to buy when the Stokes were this low. So I took all that data on the other information, and I took the stochastics that I already trade with, and then I took divergences that I knew were real, and then and I was able to say that's like that. If that's not the bottom, then my whole strategy goes up. Then like all of trading in the world means no, doesn't make any sense. Like and did I get lucky? I don't know. Did I just happen to be? I don't think so. Like it all made sense to me, right? And that's why when we covered here and I bought a $19,000 Bitcoin, to me, it was just like, I think I even bought it here actually before we dipped a little bit. Because at first I saw this as the divergence, which it was. I was just a little early on it. I was like, well, that's weekly div. But it had one more leg to play out. And then boom, we were gone. Right. So and then I bought the Bitcoin live because I was so sick of watching YouTubers and people call like what they say was the bottom or thought was the top, but I'd never seen them put any money down. So of course they could say whatever they want, and then they could just be like, yeah, oh yeah, I just DCA, I love that, right? And it's like, so I bought a whole Bitcoin to be like, listen, like I'm not playing games. I believe in this as much as I'm telling you. And if you were with us, we accumulated this whole leg from, 16, 17, 18, because once I saw this, I was convinced that I was buying the bottom every time without and I was still open-minded that we could go to 10K, and I still kept money out there for a black swan in case, and I would repeat that. But the odds were just, you know, I would go on shows and be like, it's 90%. So I trade off divergences, right? And they will change your life. I'm telling you. Okay. Okay, so let's kind of break down Bitcoin like we do every night together here. And I'm going to say what you hear me say for the last like 10 or 12 days over and over again. So I have complete faith that if anyone can figure out what Bitcoin's going to do and where it's going to go, I can do it. I really believe I can do it because I've done it before somehow when I didn't know where it was going to go. And I believe the indicators are that strong. As long as we stick to the fundamentals, the charts will reveal themselves. We just can't forget them. See, I used to know the stuff about my support and resistance, but I'd like remember it on Monday, and then like 3 days would go by. I'm like, oh yeah, like that level again. I wasn't able to maintain it throughout a focused, disciplined stage of time. That changed. That's what a trader does. Like your brain begins to change. A lot of these things I could do, but I could only do like once every couple of days, and it would take me a day or two to get back, and I would miss. I'd be like, oh yeah, that 200 again. I'm supposed to wait for that. And what happens is you miss enough, you catch it, you miss enough, you catch it, and eventually it becomes second nature. And you just don't miss anymore because it's all you do. If you want to take trading to like the next level, right? So the resistance is here at 65.5. We broke back above it. Beautiful. And then we had these two bars here at 67,200. And that's just kind of where I sit and where I stand, right? And you'll hear me say it over and over again. And to a beginner, it might seem kind of like boring or like, well, I get it, but it's really powerful if you've been trading for a long time and you understand what I am saying. Because I'm not just saying these are the levels. I'm saying like I'm stone cold believing this as long as it's this way. So like I'm super bullish as long as we don't close a weekly below 65.5. I'm super bullish as long as if we go even further. I'll just take 65.5 for now. I'll take that but I'll take 67 too all day long too. Or 67. I guess it's like 67, like maybe 180 kind of. Let's see what this one opens. No, yeah, but 67 210. It is. It's just hard to get the line right where I want it with this thing. But that's good enough. 195. So anyway, so 67,200. I close a weekly above that. I'm going to be one of the happy. You'll see me just, wow, great. You know what I mean? Also, this is now not a bearish engulfing candle, right? It's brought back up. It's not that, if this was already for a while, when we were all the way down here, that was a bearish engulfing candle. You could put this, now you can't. Now it's come back up. Now this candle is bigger, right? And if it keeps coming up, this might even close above this area, which is 69K. So now we're seeing, hey, could we get a weekly close? And this is back what we were talking about before the dip above basically 69,000. Okay. That's where these two candles, all right. Besides this candle closing, that is the highest, second highest candle closing in Bitcoin's history on the weekly. So we really want to see this candle. Now, this huge wick to the upside, as long as we maintain it. And so far, I mean, these represent that something wants to send you someone with deep pockets wants to get in, right? Now you're going to hear this stuff about the U.S. government sending Bitcoin and all that, right? And sending Bitcoin to Coinbase. For all you know, they're custodying it. You know what I mean? We don't stick to the charts. My point is, if they sell and we never go below 65.5, it doesn't matter what happens. If they sell and we go below it, then that's bearish. And I'm going to say we're below 65.5 and it doesn't matter what. So I just want to get everyone to get that. Every time I let that news stuff into my mind, it corrupts my technical analysis. And then I can't be consistent. You're only consistent if you use the same strategy over again. If one strategy is the news one day and the next strategy is back to your charts, you've just missed consistency, right? So you can't let news make any sense to you. You can take it in if you want. Like I honestly think so I used to say, oh yeah, it's worth knowing some of the news just because you don't want to know what's going on. Like now I realize like lock me in a basement, put me in you know what I mean? Put me in like blinders with just the screens here. And I'm telling you, I'll make tons of money and know where Bitcoin's going. And I won't know anything about the government or who did what. Like, don't tell me any of that and I'll nail it. Like last night, someone's like, oh yeah, because Grayscale dumped and then, the ETF started buying again last night at 4 a.m. Like that's why we pumped. Like to me, we pumped because we got above the 200 on the 1 minute and the bots ate it up, ate it alive. Like, and I back tested the strategy and it played out. It's like, and again, someone could say, no, there was a reasoning, but to me, like I'm in my zone of TA. Like that's where I'm at, and it's super important you stay in that mental pocket, that mental framework, in my humble opinion, to get where I want to take you and to get to achieve the level of trading that I believe you're capable of. where you can definitely do it effortlessly from anywhere in the world with a few indicators that you can slap on the screen. You don't need to pay for anyone's suite of indicators. I could come up with it. I could have hidden half of these things from you that I teach you. How when we cross the 200, and I could have turned them into indicators and sold them to all of you. I could have done that. I didn't. Okay. And that's like a bold statement because I'm not taking shots at anyone. Someone may take it, but I'm just saying, like, I could have glossed this. And I actually had one. To be honest, it was ready to go. And it didn't, for some reason, it didn't sit well with me, because I was like, but I made millions of dollars without an indicator. I kept saying to my wife, I said, so I believe they can too. I said, I know they can. I said, I know they can do what I do, what I did. I said, I'm not, I said, I was so consistent. I said, I was lost. I had depression. I had all those reasons why I couldn't do it. Excuses after excuse. And, and I know that, like, I could take the person who doesn't believe in themselves, who doesn't think they can achieve anything, who's beating themselves up, who's bringing up the past, and I can turn that person into a winner because that's who I was, and I'm a winner today. And so I know how to take someone from the lows to the highs. And I know that's why I show up every day with the attitude, because I know I'm pulling one person out of that depression each day. One person says, you know what, if he can, then I can. If he's got that energy, then why can't I have that energy? If he can get up every day and go for it, then I should be able to go up every day and go for it. Right. And that becomes infectious, contagious. Right. And then that you're a contagious person when it comes to positive energy. And that's a good thing to feel. Right. You go to bed at night, and when you put your head down at night, you said, was I positive tonight? Did I help someone? And the answers are yes. I believe I did to the best of my abilities through my way of doing it. And so if we can all touch someone in some way in our lives and change their lives with something that we know that may help them, um, Moses is requesting AI companion. Zoom will use AI technology, which may include third-party models, to provide AI companion service. Invitees will be able to ask questions about the meeting to the AI companion, which will provide responses based on the meeting transcript. Zoom does not use any audio, video chat, screening share, or other communications like content. By clicking enable, the web setting for this feature will be enabled for your account, and the feature will be turned on for this meeting and available for hosts to turn on in the future meetings. You can change this time at any time in settings. I'm gonna hit not now just because I never did it before, and I'll do my research, have my tech team research it. I'm sure it's fine, but I just want to make sure. But it sounds pretty cool. That sounds like it would be pretty awesome. So as long as we stay above, and again, and then I'll take 69K, right? I'll take 69,000. So can we get a weekly candle? Let's give I'll be greedy. Can we get a weekly candle above 69,000? I'm happy if it closed just like this, I'd be super happy, right? Below this, I'm bearish. You see the weekly candle close above this, because then it just means that we likely come test 60,000, and then you have to say 52,000 is on the table. Okay. Now I see this moving averages, and but maybe there's a chance we could even make a bull flag like so, and the 21 could do this, and then we could just continue to pump, and we never really have to touch it. We can come somewhat near it. And so I'm okay right now with what I see on the weekly 21, but there is some gap there. We go to the 3-day chart, and this is just kind of like what what we've been talking about, right? Can we make a flag here? I guess I'm going to allow these wicks because it makes more sense. But I mean, the only thing about this, it has some kind of descending triangle vibe to me, which that can be bearish. And why I have to tell you about this is because in my lifetime, I would have seen this and been like, nah, it's making the falling wedge. I'm going to use the wicks. And every time I didn't give the TA what I should have given it, it's backfired on me. You know what I mean? So like I have to say that's a possibility right now. And if that dumps, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, it was a symmetrical, it was a descending, and they dump pretty nice. So like it would make sense, right? But that's why, like, I'm kind of, and then sometimes you have to know which time, and this is confusing. Once you're a time frame kind of wizard and you know how to skip through time frames, which took me like years to do as well, That's another thing. Once I got my TA down, going from the weekly to the 1 minute, and that this took like probably 3 years. It was the live stream that really got me to figure out like this real relationship between the rotation of the time frames. Now I know it's like every time, and you don't have to have these 24. I'm just sometimes I'm experimenting with different things. Uh, I'm actually a couple of them I actually don't need right now. Yeah. I like to watch how the 200 moves, and every once in a while there's an obscure time frame that I feel like the algorithm used, and I'm able to kind of catch it, which I find interesting. So this is kind of what we're looking at, right? And we can all on the daily, we can all really agree with the idea that like there was some type of support here for a while. That's why I was surprised when we dumped as hard as we did, just because I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days straight, and then boom, right? Like 7 days straight, we weren't able to stay above like 69K. And it started to look like we were in this really, some type of chart, really tight channel that was going to maybe get tighter. And then once we lost this level, though, we lost the 1 minute 200, and right there we lost the 1 minute 200. And look, boom, that would have been the key to shorting on the daily, right? And you'd be like, no, I can prove it to you by making a circle here too. And I think this is just good exercise. We can make it pretty small because that will get big on the 1 minute. And then what you want to do is look for that circle, right? It's funny. It's like Saturn. So we got to go back out a little bit, shrink it down. But the idea was you can even see it here on the 10, but that dump started when you lost the 200, even on the 10 minute. You know what I mean? You can see right there. And that's something I would heed immediately as a warning sign. Other people be like, oh, that's just the 10-minute chart. That doesn't mean anything. But look, that was like, so like I've really put together a key way to figure out how the market ebbs and flows. And it's through the smaller time frames and it blends on into the bigger ones, right? And you just kind of have to learn your place between them all. And there's just times when some take a bigger move than a bigger idea than others. And we'll get into the small time frame in a second, but look, that looks interesting. So where were we? So yeah, we're back to the daily. So I just wanted to show you how like we definitely could figure out how to enter that trade by using um you know by using the 1 minute, even though it could have been a bigger trade on the daily. And so like having the daily and the 1 minute open at the same time can be advantageous. And and I don't want people like as a beginner, when I didn't understand this and I was trading the 1 minute, see, like it's almost like the 1 minute's kind of like a weapon in a way where like it works, but you really need to respect it. And you need to be really responsible about how you use it because people that don't know how to use the 1 minute can get real, can lose a lot of money in the 1 minute. It can become like a casino to them instead of like, to me, it's a microscope. It's just another tool for me to see more of what's happening in the market. It's nothing more than that, you know? And it's not a gambling. It's not again, everyone's, oh, he's on the 1 minute again. Oh, yeah. I used to think like that too. But, over time, I've realized that so much has been shown to me. So see the length. I just took the length of this pole, right? Right there. And that's basically your next leg to the upside. And that gives you 92,000. Even let's see, it's like 92,484. And then you have resistance here, right, at 71.5 and resistance here at like, 73, we'll call it 800. So we got to break 71.5 and 73.8. We're oh so close, and this is kind of where we stand again. Now, what I brought up is the idea that we've just bumped into 69,000, right? Let's see how high the daily candle was here. And let's see what we did today. So we're going to go to the OHLNC, which is up here. We're going to rest on a candle. And it's going to tell us what happened on the daily. Okay. So right here we have the open, the high, the low, and the close. Okay. 41,000. So it opened at 69,649 and 81 cents. The high was 69,674. We opened at 65,000 963. The high was 69,000. Oh, yeah, so we opened at 65,963 and 27 cents. The high was 69,309. The low was 65,64 and 52 cents. And we closed at 68,487 and 79 cents. We went up 2,500 bucks and $24 on the day, up 3.83%. So it was an awesome candle, right? Nice big daily candle, but also we did not get above resistance, right? We did not get above resistance. That support, previous support is resistance. We must get back above that level to remain bullish. And now you can already see the daily candle, the next daily candle already a little red. Moving averages are also a little far apart, but not too bad. I could see this turning into something like this and just consolidating tighter into this till we get very tight and we have to make a bigger decision. It looks most likely like we're going to see some tightness throughout tomorrow and lower volume. I'll give it as a lower high. And again, what I'm talking about there is the hidden bullish divergence. The swings down, well, that swings up. It's a little hard to see, but to me, these aren't connected because you had a pump and came back down. So that's separate of itself. So that's your swing low. You have a swing low. That's definitely an uptrend. That's definitely a downtrend in the RSI. And it tells me that there's, a likelihood of you breaking through this high before you break this low. That's what hidden bullish divergence really conveys to me. All right. But and then the stochastics are still kind of like could curve or they could go lower. Like they're kind of an indecision. Like either thing could happen. The MACD suggesting though that we kind of get a turn and we maintain this low. And we had a pretty good liquidation there on those wicks when we saw it on the live stream too. So it's showing signs of a low. The 8 hour time frame looks somewhat bullish to me, curving a little bit, but it could flip at any moment. You just want to see that these moving averages stay tight and we can continue up. What's also interesting to me is the idea that we could be making a shoulder, a head, and an inverted head and shoulder that could break us to the upside. Just something to on our radar. And then the 4 hour time frame is again resistance, resistance, resistance. So and you're hugging the 200. So if you lose the 200 again in the 4 hour, I mean, we could definitely drop out of this, right? And this could be sayonara. In we're kind of overbought and we're curving and we're at resistance. So it would have been a lot nicer had we broke above this level. That's why right now I'm not in any trades. I took profit out of that 15-minute pump, right? Which we're going to get to in a second. And then we're going to really get into the nitty gritty. So remember, when I drew this, even when we last talked about this breaking out, you say, is the 15-minute, so anyway, so the 1 hour broke out and looks like it double topped. It couldn't break above its 200 MA. So now you can see how it's these 200 MAs are like, if we were dumping, they're great places to bounce, but when you're pumping, they're great places to get rejected by too. All right. And that's just how it is. Uh, and knowing this, see, if you didn't know the 200 SMA, you would just be like, oh, price action just hit resistance. And I guess, but then why the second time you'd look for a line. I guess you could say, okay, there's the resistance again. It all kind of there it comes into play. But what I found many times, it's like, wow, it's almost like a magician, it's like boom, boom. Now the moving averages come to see how they're pulling up, like the 21's pulling up. It's a good sign. It usually tells me what price action is likely going to do. Right. So because I've watched this so much, so I front run the behavior. Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up making some type of pennant here. And the reason why I'm saying this is because the 21 looks like it wants to come for the 200. And if the 21 wants to keep coming for the 200, the 50 is about to cross the 80 and then the 100. The 21 is crossing the 100 right now. See that? It's a preemptive golden, it's like the preemptive golden cross in a way. Very, very bullish sign for me that, we could see a nice tight. So a lot of times I might even enter a trade here with a stop lower here based on the way the moving averages look to me. The moving averages teach me so much. Sometimes I'm not even realizing it. Like I think I'm playing the pattern, but it's the moving averages that are also giving me more of a. So if you take this all away, and I can see how they're getting close together, see how they're coming together, and it seems like a low with a higher low. If it was a downtrend, I'd be a little more sketched out. But to me, it seems like a neutral uptrend, and we're getting tight moving averages with the stochastic kind of turning. Whenever I've seen that, it has produced a move to the upside, most of the time, like 90% of the time. I can't say that's going to happen for sure, but it just, it starts to give me, that type of vibe. At the same time, I'm open minded that it could just, Bitcoin could do whatever it wants. And technically, see how this is like a microcosm of the bigger pattern that we're in, the dump with the comeback. It's interesting. Do you get the bounce back to the upside? Is what we need to see on this 15 and the 7. And again, just like last night, it's like always about the 1, the 7, and the 15 really depict, it's funny. I remember being here just last night. It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I was looking at it. The day went by so fast. I remember making the trade and we got above the 200 and here we are again. And my life is like basically a set groupings of like pictures of Bitcoin in a way. It's almost like, oh yeah, here I was an hour ago and then 10 hours ago. But so we have this high, we have the low, we have the higher low here now, and you're below the 200, right? So it's kind of like this same, whenever I've seen that, that's bearish to me, right? Like that was a dump. One, there was a nice dump there. The last two times we really lost this, we had a pretty nasty dump. So do we have a nice dump back down? So what I look at here is technically this is on the 1 minute a symmetrical triangle. Whenever specifically on the smaller time frames, maybe you have some better luck on the bigger ones. But when I see these on anywhere between the 1 hour and lower, even, usually even the 4 hour and lower, they dump. They're called 50-50 bilateral patterns. But I'll tell you what, I've been seeing them break to the downside a lot. This could be a shoulder ahead. We might even make a weird right shoulder and take a move down. So right now, like I have to remain a little bearish because we just hit a key resistance and we couldn't get back above it. And then we did bounce and we came back above and we got resistance again at 65, what, no, 68,000, like 800 about, right? And now we're losing 68,000. So would I long or short tonight? Thursday night's usually not my favorite time to trade at all, technically. We had a really good couple of days of trading, right? It was some chop, but we still got some good trading. I hit a bunch of live trades, a couple ones with Jerome Powell, one earlier, one today. I woke up to one in the game. So, but I just see this as a symmetrical triangle yet again that could go either way tonight. Now, remember, it's all about kind of this. If we get a bounce and this goes up and down, look, it might make an inverted head and shoulder. We might get a shoulder, a head. I'll play this right shoulder if the 200. If we get close, I'll trade it with a stop like somewhere here or here. So I'm going to watch this closely on the 7 in the next few hours. Look at 7 sevens right there, but that's so that's what I'm watching. Likelihood we kind of break down, and we'll reconvene and we'll see what happens. Then it could be like a falling wedge, and then maybe I trade it up again. We'll see. But so right now I'd be watching the 7, making sure the 1 minute doesn't, lose the 200 too much. It looks pretty bearish right now, but it can dance around it, specifically if you're getting close into the end of a pennant. So we want to see this bounce literally in the next 20 minutes. You want to see Bitcoin like doing something like this instead of. And another reason why I like the 1 minute is we'll know in the next, like it shouldn't take more than 30 minutes for us to figure out whether this is going to bounce at the bottom of this pattern or continue down. And then it might make a shoulder ahead and a right shoulder, and we might be able to trade that. So I have a bit of an idea of what I'm looking at for the night. And again, and I'm just happy that the daily is closing above some key levels, right? And 65.5 and 67.2. I just want to see 67.2 hold till tomorrow. Like let the daily candle for Friday close at 67.2 and I'll be happy. So no crazy scalps right now that I'm attempting. But we'll see what happens in the next, in a little while. We want to see kind of where Bitcoin goes. And what I'll do is, like I always do, we can just put a vertical line here, right click it, add the alert. I can actually move two of them over here. And I add two alerts, right? And then just when Bitcoin crosses this, it will tell me. All right. Let's take a look at Dual. That was something that we found today, right? Game GPT. All right, so I had a little thing. It did pump. It went from what 3 cents and 2 cents to 3.5. I take 32 to 3.5. It's about 10%. That would be like going up 3 cents on 32 cents, right? So let's see here what I was looking at. Yeah, I thought that could maybe flag out a little more to the downside. Let me just I gotta delete everything and start fresh, or my mind just can't see it. This definitely looks like it's making some type of parabola, but it's the 4 hour needs to probably come down. But it would be kind of like an emerging cup and handle there. See that? And then previous resistance could be support. So yeah, that would be pretty nice if we can. So I'd look for the 4 hour to reset on the stochastics. Look for this to flag, and we could be in for a really nice swing trade if that plays out. You have to remember, like what I do is I'll go to 10, 15 charts and I'll set these up. Maybe only four of them does exactly what I want. That's the only one we need to trade. It's not. That's what I'm trying to show you is like how we make our setups and we make the market bend to our setup. If the setup goes the way we want, we take it. Also, if this starts to drop down, we can reconvene. Like if this starts to drop and dump down, then we can grab, we always once you see the drop, you switch to your fibs and you wait for the 618 or a comparable area with some support or resistance. If you keep lateral, you don't need the fibs. You just take your measured move to your next spot, right? So in this way that I'm ready for this trade and I can continue to kind of watch it closely, right? Rio's also on my radar. All right. This is real world asset, likely going to pump. Love it if it can come back down to like $2. Looks like it may here on the 4 hours. See how it's overbought and may come down with a little bit of resistance here. Some fear here with Bitcoin may give us some lower prices for some of these coins. So looking at this closely, it may make a pullback, right? You look at the bigger time frames and they look pretty bullish. You know what I mean? But you do look for whatever reason, you got resistance at 242. The daily is also resetting, but slightly bending and still in a flag. Looks like it likely might hold $2. Like it's bounced off it multiple times, right? I own some of this coin, so I'm in on this, but I would like to get it lower if I can, around $2. So that's something that I'm paying attention to. A lot of the real world asset coins just absolutely just ripped. Pendle was another one. We used to trade Pendle on and off. I really just used to trade it, not really even like can't, a lot of times I won't research exactly what the coin is, especially I'll just be trading it. But Pendle was kicking around MEXC for like a year before I even realized what it was. And once it got its own lending, and people, it was like staking and all this, like it just exploded, right? There's definitely liquid staking with pending and Ethereum, and that's what's really been driving the move for this coin. And I would watch for this little flag, see if it can stay above that resistance. But this has the volume. Eventually, yes, it's going to crash harder than most, but it has volume right now, a lot of eyes on it, and the bots are eating it alive. So, chance that Pendle may really want to make a move tonight. If anything can move, I mean, with a lower volume Thursday night, Pendle is something on my radar there. GFI is Goldfinch. This is another one of the real world asset coins that really exploded. I've since DCA'd a little bit into this coin, looking to buy a bigger bag. I've been using the GFI CoinX chart because the Mexi chart, like they changed the name and they butchered it. But you're looking for something. If you can do this would be really, if we can get a bounce. Either way, if this drops down and I can get it at 350, awesome. And if I can get it anywhere in the cheaps, But I think a lot of people think like that because this was a hot coin, and a lot of them times you don't get the prices that you want. We did get resistance at 525, and it's come back down here now. It's definitely something worth paying attention to. But I could see this thing at $10, right? That's what the measured move says. So I'd love to see if it can bounce up. Like if Bitcoin can either go sideways or bounce. Now, if Bitcoin takes the tank, this will tank. You get it? They're all watching Bitcoin. That's why you're going to see me go over Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. As good as I like the chart or whatever I say about any coin, you know, exception to the rule here and there. Of course, there's a few low cap gems that won't do much, but you know, props. Remember, we put out this coin in this like cup and handle thing, prop space. Let's see when I first put this coin out. I didn't even realize like it was going to get as much love as it did, right? I just was like, oh, this looks interesting to me. Trade, the chart. Like it's funny. Half the times I stumble on coins just because the chart looks good to me. I think it's just prop, right? No, props. Yeah, I thought it was props. Put an I in there. So I'm putting this out on 330, right? Which was 5 days ago, thinking, oh, could it retrace? And this thing just actually mooned again, right? But when we first put it out inside this little cup and handle, went up like 200%, out of control. Also, I mean, yeah, I put it on the daily when it was this high and when it was here and said it probably will retrace. And it did retrace, right? A little bit. And what you attempt to do is wait for a 21-day moving average to get close. If the daily doesn't check your 22, if the 22 is right on it, that's definitely telling you, and that's why I go to my 22 a lot. You'll see, like, why does he switch to the 22 and not the daily? A few times the daily just was oversensitized and a move, and the coin's so small, it doesn't have as much information. So I go to that. Does that make sense? So I use this when a coin hasn't been out that long, it can't display enough of itself onto the bigger time frames because it can't display enough daily candles. But even just snapping a couple hours off and giving it to 22, right? That's that many more candles per day. It gives you a little more information. This thing, like, see how it's like back above this key resistance? If it can stay above 23, it's going to continue. Like it's like hugging that area there. Seem to almost retest it. And it is high risk. Like I don't go chasing this stuff. Like I DCA these things. Like I may have bought a little, I'm not in this coin at all, and I'm probably not going to chase it. But it is looking interesting to me. And if it stays above that level, it's likely going to continue up to 34 cents. Props. This is another RWA. So like whatever was popping before Bitcoin took that little pullback are just going to continue to run, right? So looks had a really nice run up to 19. And you can see people took profits on it, right? And then more people took profits. That's just what happens. People keep hitting the order book up, and that's it. They control, they send the order book down. Can it retest the top trend line now? That's what you're kind of looking for. And you don't have to even trade the retest. You could trade when it's above 18, because once it does that, it's likely that the retest was successful, right? Looked at this coin and it did break out. Funny, I put it out before. It did break out and it came back down. A lot of coins kind of pumped and retraced with Bitcoin. So that's just kind of where we stand. Right, nice bounce on the 15. See that? And again, if we get above the 200, see, this is where I may not take the signal because we're in such a tight channel that the signal works when you have this space. As you start to get tighter and tighter, once we get above that, we might just go up and down, right? And that's pattern trading. That's like understanding. See, that comes from just, knowing what to do, when to do it based on years of doing it, right? Banana gun in a flag, basically almost hit the target. This is a cool little bot that helps you buy and sell meme coins and stuff like that. So people are into that, and it can help you. So and it's been reputable, even though it is a bot and it works pretty well. So banana bot. Just Gorilla came to mind. I don't know why. I guess banana, but Gorilla came to mind. Remember, look, we had this. It came back down. Look, it got sold all the way back off. I'm not into this project that much. It's just funny. I just was like, oh yeah, I wonder what happened to Gorilla. We finally looked at it recently. This ISP is on my radar. It just looks bullish. It broke out though, hit resistance, came back down. Cannot retest, right? So you're looking on like the 7, the 1 minute. Again, below the 200, lower volume. Bitcoin's a little sketchy. You know, you could wait for it to get back above 0.004 if we're going to swing trade it. There's ways to like be less risky with swing trading where, you know, you just wait for a stronger level to be broken above and then you trade a flag like above that level. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to just trade a flag before you've hit the substantial level. Like this 7 looks interesting to me on high-fi finance, right? Again, the order book's a little like, see how you have some breaks in the candle. So the order book is, you know, maybe the spread isn't as full. So that would make me, you know, like $500 or more or something, but or less. Yeah, only like 10, 11%. May not be worth it, but looks, you know, even just watching that setup though, it looks good to me. Low stochastic, lack of momentum, tight moving averages in the pattern, you know, all says yes, it's going to make a move, right? Only time will tell, but like that's, you know, that's a basic setup that I go for over and over again. And when I look at these parameters altogether, and you can see it's consistently making higher lows, it seems to be getting driven to the upside, right? It's having some movement. 128 would be its target. Bottle got some love, that artificial art maker. That's what it is. Only holding gains of like 15 or 13%, but still up. Made a huge flag about 23, man, or pump at 23. And still not amazing. Like these aren't, you know, and it just like people kind of just sitting and waiting on Bitcoin, right? It's got the whole market kind of, and then we had data, like, you know, data and the Fed. Whenever you have a lot of that stuff on the week, it tends to throw the week off pretty much. Well, to say, I think I'm in Hikanashi. So Dai keeps getting hit up on token metrics, right? And it's been a while since it's trended on there. So it tells me, hey, you know, for whatever reason, it looks like it's back in rotation. So I'm watching it closely, and it's definitely something to look at. It could easily dump. It's a little overbought on the Stokes, not the worst. The 1 minute, the 1 hour looks good to me though. And so if anything breaks out in the next 4 or 5 days, I wouldn't be surprised if this gets some love. And it's also trending on, you know, on token metrics. So as I said before, hey, it can't hurt, right? Every little bit helps when you're gonna swing a coin. So I look for no, you know, trend. I look for what's going on, what people are saying. I want to see if I get like a lot of tweets about it, what's going on. So this is on my radar. And I wouldn't be surprised if this makes 80% gain. And that's going to segue us into the token metrics section, which I'll then start to post here. Okay. I can't believe I'm moving, everyone. I'm in shock. But I'm actually happy. You know, I was in New York City. I grew up in Boston. I lived in New York for 20 years, New York City. I got there when I was 18. I left when I was 39. So 19 years, 19 and a half about. And then I moved home for 4 years. So it's not like I got too attached. You know what I mean? It's not like I was in New York for a long time. When I left New York, that was really like when I left my like that's what I called home for so long. That's where I grew into who I am. That's where I learned so much. That's who I still have close friends to this day. Um, New York City, right? And I came home and I have some friends but the friends that were here I hadn't seen in like 20 years. We weren't that close. We didn't stay in touch. So then when I came home and I tried to stay in touch, it just didn't seem to work too much, you know? And everyone seemed too busy, to be honest. One of my close friends that I grew up with, and we're like friends, like, you know, we always seem to care about each other, but he lives like literally 2 minutes from my house and has never come by and said hi to me once. Like, but he's texting me about Ethereum. You know what I mean? Like, how's Ethereum doing? It's so funny. Like, whatever, man. It's just for whatever reason, I didn't get the homecoming I thought I was going to get here in Boston. And I was super busy too. And I think people look me up that knew me. I'm like, oh, he's got a YouTube channel now. He's doing this. And maybe they thought like, oh, he's too big for us to know. I don't know. You know what I mean? It just got to, I didn't seem to get, and again, not many people, some people don't even know I even moved home yet. You know what I'm saying? In my defense, like I didn't talk to that many people. So it's not like I went out and tried to like meet everyone I could. I was busy. Right? And my wife, I was taking care of my kids really. I really don't have that much time for socialization, everyone. I do what I have for the group. I do one-on-ones when I can, to help people. And, I run the trading group. I have meetings with the staff of the company. I have meetings with, people that want to help or do different things. And then I have some meetings with that actually will hang out with my wife, which are business meetings half the time. And then my kids, and it's just really just and then it's the day rotates right back again and we're back right back where I start. So I don't really have time to like go get a beer. I don't drink beer anyway, but you know what I mean? That quintessential let's get a drink and talk. Like and again, it's a good thing. If your life is scheduled and put together, it means you're probably on a good success, you're on a success train. Like things are going well, you know where you're gonna be, you know what you want to be doing, you're not gonna be wasting time, you know. So it's important, I think, to have that mentality and that type of schedule, right? Just want to stop share for a split second here. Modern Sword, my man, on the phone. He's making deals. All right. So, okay, where do we stand? Okay. So you can see my strategy is simple too, seems right. But we focus on the indicators that give us the highest probability, and we look for coins that have the most buzz, and we put those two things together, and see if we can come up with some sauce. And then I also just look for what's new on token metrics, what's new on MaxC, what's getting added to exchanges, and just what people are asking about on the live stream. Moon Tropica. Look at that. Sound Strike X is another one, right? That keeps coming up. Bricken on my radar too. We'll talk about Bricken. That's another one of the RWAs that really got out of control if it can pull back. See, prop space is getting that. It keeps getting pushed, right? So you can see it could continue to move. When these keep getting put out there, it's interesting. Ozone, that coin is just out of control. Since I didn't even really know what it was when I first got it, and the thing just continues to moon. Pretty crazy. And there's coins I don't know. Football, like I am seeing football tokens, soccer fan tokens, we call them. They're starting to come up again. Like I looked at City earlier today, Man City. They have waves where those coins just pump. They will just due to, people are into them, they want to get them, and then they're tradable. So that's kind of like about all these different trends that we can jump into and trade with cryptocurrency. There's like so many different ways to take advantage of it. It's really awesome. So this goes in the token metric section. If you're new to the trading group and maybe you didn't know that we had that, I usually post it Monday morning and then here today. And just kind of what coins are trending the most. Then I also go to webinars, they do deep dives, and I relay that information back to you guys. So this cost, I have a 3,000. I at the one point it was like couple $1,000 NFT. And there's going to be some airdrop coming with token metrics too. I believe they're coming out with a coin or something. Tree Capital is coming out. LimeWire has been on fire. We put it out like a few weeks back. And whether you first learn about these coins and then maybe DCA turn them into long haul portfolios or you swing trade them, we do give you a lot of coins at like some of the lowest prices they've ever been at. We do it all the time. Sometimes even before they show up, on only when you can get them on decentralized exchanges. Funny Whiff continues to kind of come out there. You can see a little bit of sell off in the altcoins today, right? Like slight, just slight, but it seemed like towards the afternoon, whether there was fear, whether whatever it was, it just seemed to get a little bit of like, you know, Like we talked about Jitto when it first came out. I bought Plays App a long time ago. It really didn't. It has underperformed to say the least throughout this run. It is very very underperformed. What WeFi Finance, WeFi, right? FinCeptor, LeoX. I like Conducts. That's a newer coin I found out. Mendy Finance, Nemesis Downfall, right? Athena, Punk City. Soul Casino is keeps coming up. And you think like a lot of these casino coins are pretty hot. Makes sense they could do well. Dream Machine, Prop Base. Interesting. And then you got Catcoin, which really, I think it hit Max C too, if I'm wrong or right. This is Conduct. You can only get it on Uniswap. It's starting to get really tight above the 200. I seen this in Alex Becker's portfolio. A couple other people have this on the low. So it's like they have there's some plans for this coin somewhere, and the big boys seem to know. So I definitely pay attention to this. I have posted to the trading group. All right, and like things that I did this, like things that I let's see too, things that I did this week, just kind of like what did I do, and kind of why did I do them, right? So throughout all the chaos, uh, I've had a focus, and I always attempt to keep a focus, and it's not easy. It can be very difficult when Bitcoin just goes crazy up and down because it can kind of take your focus to your emotions, and then your emotions can be what you think you're focused on, and you kind of are, and then you can miss the ability to dollar cost average. You can miss the ability to take advantage. So when that happens for me, I do a simple strategy, and that's I dollar cost average into Bitcoin. So recently, I've been using this time because once Bitcoin got up to 72, 70K and it was all pumped, like I just was like, I can't buy Bitcoin, So I stopped really, buying like maybe I bought $100, $500, but I stopped buying like 5 grand, like, a chunk of it. And so what I've been doing now is between the 60,000, that dip we had, any big nasty red day, I just been grabbing a little bigger chunks of Bitcoin than normal. Right. And I actually now have point 0.4, which I'm pretty happy about. Like I'm almost because I didn't think I was gonna get, I really thought 72, and I was like, dang, now my next whole Bitcoin is gonna cost me 80 grand. Right. That's what I figured for sure. So the second we got closer to 60,000, I remembered my feeling when I was, so while everyone gets bearish, I remember what it was like when things were over bullish and I couldn't buy at that price anymore. And I remind myself, take advantage of this time, you know, get in there while you can. And so I've been just taking time. And again, someone could say there's so much more profits in other coins. And again, some of this Bitcoin, I'm going to swing into Solana BTC and trade the Sol BTC trade here. So I want to talk about a BTC pair. I'm going to use Bitcoin Sol BTC as kind of the answer here. All right. And you can trade it on Coinbase. You can trade it on Binance. Right. And it's funny, altcoins see even Sol took like a little bit of a move, So altcoins took a little bit of a hit today. And you know what that is? Let's take a look. It's probably Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance must have pumped. See, it did. See that? So when Bitcoin dominance pumps, because people just get more into Bitcoin, bang, you're going to see the alts suffer. So be careful too, because there could be a little bit of an alt sell-off if Bitcoin takes a massive run up again. That's what people don't realize. Like, and what I've been seeing is it looks like we could get like a Bitcoin pump this weekend. And the only reason I'm saying that is there's some foreshadowing by the Bitcoin dominance here. As we get very tight by these moving averages, it looks like we could get that move. So I'd be really weary of that. This looks, and I'm not saying all your alts are going to dump hard. It just doesn't mean like it's not going to be alt time. It's going to be kind of more Bitcoin's time to shine. And when if Bitcoin does start to make a bigger move up to 80K, like, you got to take into account how big dominance is going to move. And some people are going to sell off of certain coins into Bitcoin, you know. I'd be cool with Solana if it wicks back inside. I don't want to see it, basically lose this level. You'd like to see it kind of come back up and pull the 200 into it and get tight. If Bitcoin does pump pretty hard, I believe Solana will follow it And so I don't see how the Solana BTC pair will lose too much. And I still see it making 42%. So it's definitely on my radar. I would watch it. Sol BTC. And what you do is you buy, you dollar cost average into Bitcoin right now, right? And then at the right time, I swap into Sol BTC. And then when Sol BTC pumps, I swap back out. Bitcoin continues to pump. And what you can do is you can end up turning like 5 grand into Bitcoin, right? You make 42% on that. That's pretty sweet, right? You swing back, and now you have more Bitcoin than you started with. Okay. And then Bitcoin pumps. And so you end up turning, 5 grand of Bitcoin into 8 grand. And then Bitcoin could go from, let's say, when you got in at like 65 to 85. So Bitcoin goes up 30%. So then you make 30% on the 8 grand. You know what I mean? Now you're up like, now you've turned 5 grand into 12 grand. You've done it in about, that could happen in a month, month and a half. And people, so I do all sorts of stuff that everyone's chasing like the angle and the new meme. But there's still the old school ways. Like I just DCA into Bitcoin, and look how safe it is for me. So I could pile 20 grand into Bitcoin right now and just have a little less risk. Because if I pile into an altcoin and we do have some type of move, I'll take a beat down and I'll lose 10 grand pretty quickly on a swing. But if I pile into Bitcoin and I'm willing to hold Bitcoin long term, so like to me, I'm just grabbing a great asset at a great price, and then I can still use it to my advantage to swing into an altcoin. All right. It's not about and it's about being an opportunist, being married to the opportunity, not to like the position at all times. So one last thing, because we're headed towards the end, I want to kind of make this a good night, give everyone a good night of sleep. I've been burning the candles. Last night I was up to like 2 in the morning ripping it, but I had to get you guys the signal that I wanted to wait for the perfect time to enter the trade, and it happened to have been 2 a.m. last night. I love trading Tuesday nights and Wednesday nights. They're very profitable. Monday night can be too. They're my favorite 3 nights to kind of trade. If I open up a trade at like 12 at night, and a lot of times it does play out. It's just a good time to trade out based on how the algorithms move. All right. One last thing I want to talk about is, oh yeah. So I'm building a bag of AI tech. You can take it, you can stake it, and then you can get involved with their pad, AI tech pad. Some big coins have come, a couple good hitters have come out of that, and that could continue to move. So I like what AI tech's doing. And this little pullback is giving people an advantage to buy some and stake. And to me, yeah, there's potential coming out of AI tech. So I like AI tech. It's kind of like something, my new little toy that I'm sinking my teeth into. I traded the bag. The bag gave me a good amount. I still got my GFL. I still got my Gala. I still got a big bag of orange. I believe that's going to do numbers. Uh, Maria, I got in at like 65. It ripped to 10,000. It's now like 677. It's still up, but Layer AIs took a little bit of a hit, but it's still at a good spot. I'm DCAing into that. I think I want to buy a little bit more. I did add a little whiff, in this little dip here. I'm adding a little whiff, and I still got my Pyth or Peeth if you want a Pyth or Peeth, and I added Tau, a bit tenser. I have ATR now, about 7 grand of it, but I went in for 7 grand, turned it to 21, put 20 grand in, it turned into like the coin was really, really well for the last 4 or 5 days, at least since like last Friday. Maybe it's been a week now, it feels like, but if went by so fast. Yeah, we started trading it last Friday afternoon, Thursday. And when Bitcoin tanked, like ATR was still doing numbers, right? And it was awesome for me because it was like nice to make some big chunk while Bitcoin was kind of pulling back. I've added RIO to my portfolio. I still hold some Pocket Network. Okay. I like that coin. I got SEI in my portfolio for long term for like the bull run. I got some Tara, TARA. That's very high risk, low cap, could like 50x. I believe Manta is going to pull what is a TIA Celestia. And so I've been building a bag of that. I got Zeta Chain. I've been building a bag of that as it kind of dips a little bit here, just throwing $500 in whenever I'm thinking about it. I got Lit Games. It's been kind of small, hasn't done much. It's taken a hit. We'll see what happens. That's like a very low cap, see what could happen gem. I got XRD, just an oldie but goodie. Hasn't, may even sell it off. It has underperformed. I got some Jasmy in the last month. I didn't think I was going to have any, but I eventually grabbed some Jasmy. And I got Illuvium for gaming. I really like Illuvium as a coin. I've been holding that though since like the beginning of the bear market. Like I'm DCAing into Illuvium. I got Ondo. Ondo's going to be huge for real world assets, everyone. I think it could definitely 20x from here and do numbers. So I think Ondo is good to have 4 or 5 grand, and that could turn into, basically you're talking what, like 100 grand. Palm AI is my old, we got to that, remember before when it was on Uniswap, then it got onto MEXC. We still own that. I got some Rune, Thorchain. I still got my Neuro AI, very like 3 grand of it. That thing could 100x. It's like still tiny. No one really knows what it could do. Even Token Metric still kind of talks about it, keeps it on their radar. So we're not the only ones that see potential in that. Blocktopia is, I believe, going to come back in a vengeance when the metaverse coins come. Gearbox is a new kind of gaming coin that I added in the last 3 weeks that I believe could do numbers. I got some GTA when it pulled back, GT Protocol. I got this TokenFi, which is also a real world asset. And I added Goldfinch too, just little, not a lot of them, just like, 2 to 3 grand of them. I think you could hold them for a 20x, possibly something like that. And those are kind of things that I've added in the last like 2 to 3 weeks while Bitcoin was dipping. And we had kind of the real world asset pump and then kind of some pullbacks here. And then I'm just, seeing what I like, seeing what's interesting. Some of the coins I had a little bit of, but I want a little more. And then I'm also adding to Caspa when I get a chance. I'm throwing like 500 to $1,000 into Caspa when I get a moment or when I make a big swing trade. I talked about turning $1,000 into 10,000. We picked Myro as the coin. Right now it is 930, so it's down $70, sad to say. But we had a pretty nasty pullback for Bitcoin, so it's kind of almost sound like sell off and restart the process again. But while I did that, I also did turn like there was coins that did turn 1,000 into like 4 or 5,000 like ATR and a couple other coins too. And so yeah, right now you're going to see me more focused on kind of what Bitcoin's doing and watching what Bitcoin's, the Bitcoin trend and kind of going from there. Right. And then, yeah. Second. Yeah. And so I'll be kind of honing in on Bitcoin more because you can see the altcoins seem to be kind of in waiting to see kind of what Bitcoin wants to do. And Bitcoin dominance makes this continuation pattern, you know, if we can get resistance here, like I can raise this up a little bit. You can see we do seem to hit some type of resistance up here a lot and possibly pull back. But I feel like these are just kind of like areas where we kind of spike out of the pattern. Looks more complete to me when I do this, but I feel like we're kind of spiking out again. And there's a big gap there. We could get up to 57 pretty fast. Let's look at tether dominance. And look, that kind of wants to break down. So it's a really good sign that if you see tether dominance wanting to dump while Bitcoin dominance wants to pump, right? And you just don't want to see tether dominance break above the 200 SMA here on the 8 hour. But so far, so good, right? So that's what you'd like to see so far, right? Yeah. So the market looks somewhat quiet tonight. I see some pullbacks, but everyone's kind of waiting on what Bitcoin's going to do. And for the most part, we're getting some rejection, right? Because we're just making lower lows, right? And we couldn't get it back. We really needed to get back above the 200 here on the 1 hour time frame, right? And now look, our signal, we're losing the 200 SMA. So that would tell you, hey, open up a short with a stop on the other side. We should get a move further down, at least to maybe the 7 minute 200. Chance but again, we're in some chop and there's a chance we kind of, you know, so I would watch the 1 minute, but right now, my signal does say, hey, that's so if you can't, like we said, if this isn't like Adam and Eving and you don't get back above here, like look for some more downside. So I can't place it. It looks like we could bounce on the 7. So it's not like you don't, here's the deal. It's like if it loses here, you can enter a short here with a stop on the other side of the pattern. You might still get stopped out. It's low liquidity Thursday night. So just be careful. Like the odds of this happening, you getting stopped and I'm pumping back. There's going to be more trickery tonight. I just have to heed. What you really want to see is this bounce. What I would do is I'm waiting for this to bounce an hour, maybe if I'm still awake at like 11:30, 12 o'clock in 2 hours. If that happens, that's going to be a nice trade. So you want to see if it breaks down, then maybe I long like another bounce. I may not short per se. So I'd watch the 1 minute to see that this kind of stays inside the pattern here and gets a, stays above really the point of control at 67,000, 67.8, where it looks like it's trying to come dump on you right now, though. See this? So see some bearishness in the air. Rejection by the 200 on the 1 hour, rejection by the 200 on the 1 minute. You know, that tells you you're supposed to continue to the downside now. By my just like we traded long. See, if you can trade it long, that's why you flip this upside down. If you can trade this long, you can trade it short. All right. That kind of has a shoulder head and a right shoulder, right? Looks pretty dumpy to me. And you lose the point of control too. Seems like they're going for some of the longs. We need the bounce here. A little bit of bullish div though, which is nice. See that? So you need the bounce. That could be the bounce. But to me, it looks like a bearish retest, really, of that level. And now you got to get, Bitcoin is bearish unless it gets back above 69,000, right? 69,200. It's got to break back above that high that it just made not too long ago. So I'm not opening up any longs or shorts. We had a really good run today. I'm happy with the trading. If I see something, I'll point it out. But yeah, it's kind of where I sit for the night. And yeah. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll do the live stream, and then I also do the weekly top-down analysis, which has a lot of this in it and a little more. We'll look at total a little more. We'll look at kind of juxtapose the tether dominance and Bitcoin dominance and go from there. All right. So that's kind of where I sit. And yeah. And I also bought a bunch of memes on base. I also bought base AI. I could spend a whole so I also got pretty deep into base. And I bought some what's called base AI. All right. Which I believe is going to be pretty big. I got Normie, I got Brett, right? I have a bunch of other insane coins. But I bought this coin here, Base AI on Uniswap right here. And how I bought it was I went here, Base AI, right? Please do your own research. And you want to make sure it's the one on base. You see this? See that 99% Q? Like definitely not $764 in volume. Yeah, but this is tiny. Look, I saw it in this cup and handle here, right? Look at that. Um, that's up 282%. Okay. I'm pretty sure I put this out to the group. It was super high risk when I did it because Bitcoin was bugging. I said, look, and I said very high risk, but going to add a long-term bag of base AI. So I bought like 3 grand of this. Um, and that thing is gone. Look at that. I didn't even check on it, but it mooned. Look at that thing. It's up nice. And it looks like it's going to continue. And Kyle is pushing this thing. Kyle Chasse, like he has an army, man, he has 100,000. So when he talks, he gets 10,000 people, and the way it works, it like reworks with Pepe, and it's just you gotta watch go if you gotta watch Kyle Chasse, a couple of his videos if you want, but he'll break down some things. And what I do is I'm gonna always do the TA for you and and then you might see me buy something. You're like, okay, well, Sam thought that might have been hot, right? But I mean, it spiked up. Right now, I'm sitting on a 200% gain, and I bought it when like Bitcoin was like it took a lot of guts to buy this coin because the night I did it, like it felt like we were gonna dump, and people were really bearish, but I also knew that there was opportunity. And I was like, man, if people are FOMOing for this. And so what happens is you have the focused, insane degens who are who know it's going to be hot and are focused. And then you have everyone who's like scared of what's happening to Bitcoin and freaked out, right? And you have to pierce through the veil. And what I do is I'm like, man, I could see the FOMO for this coin. And I was like, you know what? My fear, which doesn't exist because I got rid of fear, like I just, the fear doesn't exist to me anymore. It's not real. It's really not real. Because even if there's a bear in front of you that you were quote unquote afraid of, if it did eat you and you died and bled to death, like, and it might be painful, it probably will be pretty painful, but eventually you're going to die and go to back to God. And to me, I'm cool with that. So, like I'm right with God, so it is what it is. That's what will happen, right? Sorry to be morbid. I'm just breaking it down, And so logically, I don't see what I don't because of my belief in God and my connection. I just I don't believe fear exists. But but there is that concern of what's happening in the market that could get you to focus on only what could happen to Bitcoin and not on the possibilities, right? Look at all the buys coming in here. 5,000, 3,000, like, you know. Now, how I bought this, again, I did the really easy, like, but I just sent ETH. I bought ETH on MEXC. I sent it to my hardware wallet, my MEXC wallet. All right. I then hit the bridge button and just bridged the Ethereum to USDC, you know. I think I even know it. You could put base AI in here. Like I went to base. You send see based AI there. So you pick the network. So you're gonna go from this network to base. I'm gonna go from my Ethereum to base AI. See? Bang. Right? And look, now I have 9 grand of base AI. Because I put 3 grand in there, you know, and it tripled basically. I might have put a little more, maybe 4 grand. So you can see I got my Brett, I got my Normie, I got my Roost, I got my base AI, and these are all on base, right? Um, so like if base explodes, like I'm gonna have like I got my, I could 10x, I could maybe, who knows, maybe I can 50x this, but I got exposure. I got 9 grand. And look, I'm up on everything I put up, I'm up because, you know, so I've made $6,000 in the last 2 days. And I didn't even realize it, honestly. Um, I'm telling you, man, I'm freaking weird. I'm freaking crazy at this game. Like, and I focus when everyone else is, and again, when I did this that night, I was like, man, it looks like Bitcoin's gonna tank. And I had a really sick feeling in my stomach when I bought base AI. But I felt like I was getting in on something so early that other people were gonna FOMO for. And I knew what I was doing, and I knew my research was spot on, you know. Um, so oh yeah, I'm not showing my screen. Sorry. So sorry. But look, again, how to buy this? I sent um Ethereum to I bought Ethereum XC. I then send Ethereum to my MetaMask wallet on the Ethereum network, ERC20. Don't change the network, right? And then I bridged, and again, you could even like buy it on Coinbase, and then I just bridged from ETH to base AI. Like I bought it right here. This is a little more expensive. This is like the luxury way to do it. I probably paid like maybe $20, but I also did it 2 or 3 in the morning. Cost me like $30 in fees. Probably would have cost me $20 in fees. You know, turn on refueling to add ETH on base automatically. This means you'll have enough to cover your gas fees for transactions on base. You click on that too. It's great. And so this is like a very simple way to get the base. And I haven't, not many people have talked about it. And it's just a really easy way to do it. MetaMask kind of handles it for you on the back end. All right. And as I was showing everyone, like here, I can see I got 9 grand in base AI. I got Brett, I got Normie, I got Roost, and I got about, you know, 15,000 in exposure. Um, I'm sure I thought I had something else in base too. Oh yeah, and I also have Aerodrone, which I put 4 grand into Aerodrone and it turned into like $20,000. So base is already starting to pay off pretty well for me. As you can see, it's already made me over like about almost $26,000 just playing with base in the last month. And I see Aerodrone doing numbers, you know. This is hot to me. And see how the moving average is starting to kind of get close together again. The daily's resetting, getting the 21 back into price action. The 22 is probably on that 21, which is a good sign. And again, we could even dip if we do and we went to 92. It would be a blessing to buy this thing. But yeah, so I'm watching Aerodrome. This is a high-end DCA in my humble opinion. I could see Aerodrome at 20, 30, $40 a coin, based on what I saw with Uniswap and Cake, because it's the automated market maker for base protocol. So like this thing's going to be hot. So I'm already built and ready for base. I understand how the ecosystem is going to work, and everyone wants gains immediately. They want, oh, I want to get into the meme, and it's like, but like, 6, 7 months from now, when I have a 250,000 or more in the base protocol, because I 10x this 26,000, it's because I was paying attention and I had a long-term goal, right? So I'm just, you want to, I got my eye on the prize. I know I build now and I pay, I get rewards later, right? That's kind of how. And again, if things spike huge, we take some profits along the way, right? Like maybe there's a time I take that 3 grand back out and, I use it to, buy a new bed set for my wife. I'm just, you know what I mean? Whatever she wants, something like that. And the show goes on, right? So I forgot. I almost at the last second forgot about the base protocol. And I'll keep looking for base stuff. I'm a little overexposed at this point, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to continue to show you things that are on base and that I think could be hot on base. And you guys might have found your own things on base too. And that's what the group's all about, us all coming together, sharing the knowledge, sharing the information, right? And taking advantage of the move. Now, when I made this money, I was sick inside. It felt really weird. Bitcoin wasn't in the perfect place, you know? But I thought about long term and I thought about everyone else. And I realized like these are opportunities that I may miss if I don't take advantage of them now, right? So, yeah, thank you for the base AI call, 3X already. Yeah, I forgot I even made that call, man. I'm so happy with that. I remind him, I got to send that to the gains to the gains crew. Um, yeah. All right, everyone. I love you all. Northeast is finna miss you. Thank you, man. I'm gone though. Top 5 rappers: Dylan, and Dylan. Yeah, Dylan. You guys are funny. So glad I could make it post op. Hey, oh, you had an operation, man? God bless you, brother. I hope you're okay. Um, yeah. You probably mentioned this and I missed it. And I apologize. But I'm happy you're all right, man. And I'm happy everything's great. Oof. All right, everyone. I love you. Let me just take a look if there's anything I'm missing on Bitcoin right before I jump on out of here. Nice. It seems to want to bounce here, right? It's attempting to hold this. It's in that like the falling wedge that broke out, broke back inside. So I'll be happy if we just get some, tomorrow morning I wake up and we're just like, we got some sideways price action. But what look for this to get tighter and stay inside the zone. That's more of a chance that we could at least break out again. But this is what I'm watching. I'm still weary of the price action right now. Give me some mixed signals. Let's basically get back above 68.2 and hold that and then start to consolidate. So I'd watch that 1 minute. Have you heard of Minutes Network? Have you looked at Entanglefy? Yeah, I looked at Entanglefy. I think we did look at Minutes Network. I just at one point shut my brain down because I'm like, I could feed 1,000 coins to it. And eventually I just have to like, I like this mind verse. I talked about it. Um, yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow if you want. Bring up minutes. I don't know where it is. Bit minutes. Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about. So cool. You're moving to Florida. I moved here 5 years ago and I love it. Yo, everyone I said that goes there is like, yo, you're gonna wish you moved earlier. You know. Oh, I just want to look at Crow with Knife. Remember, we were in that coin when it first came out, like the day that coin came out, we looked at it. So I'm just curious to see what's happened to it. I thought it was trash, but like, let's see what happened. So I mean, it kind of cup and handle. At one point, I guess it went up a little bit, came down, went up. It's higher than it was. It's trending slowly to the upside. Can't like, it's not the worst thing in the world. Not trying to be rude to anyone that loves this coin, but shouldn't love these coins anyway. I don't know, not my bag. 11 million.1 market cap though. It's interesting. 11.1. Freedom Factories in Florida. Oh no. Um, Come to date and I'm taking you to go get Gold Grills, Florida inductee. All right, man, let's do it. I'm doing a live revision trading course this Saturday at 9 a.m. instead of the last Saturday of the month. The class is $150 if you want to register and pay. And you can you could pay with crypto and email cryptolifers@gmail. Um, I don't know if people realize the easiest way to pay for any of my classes, if you want to jump on in, you just find any of my videos, right? Like find the live, click on the live, and then just click on this, and then right here, book a one-on-one tutoring and trading class here. And then we offer a bunch of different classes. I don't think people realize, right? But, and you want the life revision trading course. Click on that, hit next, and then pick this Saturday, which is the 6th, and jump on into class. Okay. And you can email crypto lifers as well. Oh, yeah, I wasn't sharing my screen, of course. But here you go to the bottom of any one of my videos. Click right here, booking an appointment. Boom. It takes you to this page. You can select Life Revision Trading Course. It'll pop down like this. Hit next, and then you pick the 6th, and that will automatically enroll you with like PayPal. It will then send us an email. We'll know you're there, and then you'll get a link that morning. You'll get like a confirmation, but nothing else, and then you'll get a link in the morning because we know that you registered for the class. Okay. Have no fear. Once you click on that button, we'll know you're there. All right, everyone. I love you. I appreciate it. And honestly, I believe that class will change your life if you're just you could trade anything in anything in the world that way. So yeah. All right. Be safe. And have a wonderful night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Stay blessed.